Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Taylor, and today we are going to talk about qualitative data analysis. And so qualitative data refers to the open-ended questions that you asked in your survey, where the respondents could answer as they wished. And so this includes the text responses. Now, you have a couple of open-ended questions in your survey where you ask them questions about frequency and how often and how many. And so if you ask them to respond with a number where it has an absolute zero, where they could say 0 times or 0 frequency, and then it was open-ended in terms of the ending, then that would be considered ratio data. But qualitative data is where they can respond by writing text. So this is often considered the richest of data because you can get insights into phenomenon that a researcher would have otherwise never known. So how do you analyze these open-ended questions that you've collected? Well, we have 5 steps that we're going to be following today. The first step is to identify your qualitative questions, and these include other open text options. The second step is to copy the answers to the questions into an Excel file. And then the third step is going to be cleaning the data in the Excel file. And the fourth step will be identifying themes and creating counts and frequencies. And then our final step will be to create a chart based off those themes. So we only have 15 minutes in this video and we have a lot to cover, so let's get started. So step 1, identifying are qualitative questions. Now, typically you can identify a qualitative question when they have a value of none. So it's either going to be qualitative or ratio. So case number, that's a number. Progress, that was a number to 100. Distribution channel, I think that was actually nominal. If you go and look at the data. Let's see, case number. Oh, see, it was anonymous. So, and that could have been email. It could have been, depending on how you were tracking it. All right. So how often, let's go. How many organizations do you volunteer for? That's open-ended, but it is a ratio question. Here's an other for text. So Q5 text, let's go take a look at that. Q5 text. And I am just going to sort this. I did ascending, now I'll do descending, and we'll see we have 4 answers to that question. All right, so that is considered a qualitative data that we will have to do an analysis on. Okay, looking for none. This is an other that we would consider. So, do you plan to continue or increase your volunteer services in the future? Please explain. So that is Q12. Let's go take a look at Q12. And again, I am going to just do descending so we can see. So rich data here explaining yes, somewhat, no. And so we have to analyze that. We also have to clean out the data. As you see, we've got some 555, some I's, some continues. And this is just people didn't want to answer and they just typed in something because we forced the response. So we'll clean that up. All right. And so you go through and you look at these and you analyze and determine whether or not it's an open-ended question. So for this group, I'm going to let you evaluate the rest of them. But for this video, we are going to take a look at this question. Do you plan to increase? So Q12, what we just identified. So we've identified our data. Now we move into step 2, which is copy the answers into an Excel file. So we are going to take all these answers and we know we have 64 active cases, and you can tell what's active because the it's no longer highlighted. It's bolder if it's an active case. Everything else is, there are no cases there. So we simply copy. We go into our Excel file where we have our data saved. We're going to create a new worksheet. We're going to rename it. This is question 12. And we're going to paste it. Okay. And so we're also going to format it. And we want to wrap the text. And then we're going to go into step 3, which is to clean the data. So we're going to remove obvious false answers. So obvious false answers they're going to continue. Let's see, let's go real quick. Let's go and get our question just so that I can make sure. So question 12, do you plan to continue? Okay. Let's put this up at the top. Do you plan to continue? And I like to highlight this so that I know that it's the question. So do you plan to continue or increase your volunteer service in the future? Please explain below. Okay, so we know yes, 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 yes. Those are all answers. Somewhat, same, POL. Well, POL, it doesn't really tell us anything. We're going to delete it. About the same, not at this time, no increase, no. My commitment is 2-year commitment. Maybe once I have children, maintain similar pattern. Just continue. It's the right thing to do. It depends on the cost. Increase if time permits. If I have time, I would love, okay, so these are continue, because if you remember, do you plan to continue? And so these people are going to continue. And then 555 and I are both false answers. So now what we're going to do is we'll sort the data one more time. So we're going to go to data, I'm going to sort. And we'll do it alphabetically. All right, so now we have clean data and we can move into step 4, which is creating themes. Okay, so with the themes, we know by looking at the question that we are going to have at least 2. Do you plan to continue or increase your volunteer services in the future? So we know that we'll have continue and increase. And then they will be explaining that. So those are our 2 themes that we can identify immediately, and we might find a couple more. Now, because of the time constraint we have on this video, I've deleted the other options that we have, and I've created 2 categories, a frequency and a percentage total. And I'll talk about those in just a second. But in order to identify themes, what we're going to do is look through each line item of the data and see if it falls into one of these themes. So continue. This one is definitely a continue. Continue, 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 continue. So depending on the schedule, let's come back to that. Helping more. That's definitely a 1. And let me just highlight this so I know to come back to it. helping more. I enjoy volunteering because it gives me the opportunity to meet new people and do good for my community. I would love to volunteer more in the future. So this is someone who'd like to volunteer more. I plan to continue. So continue. I plan to continue volunteering where I can. I plan to volunteer as much as I can. So I think that's a continue. I take on whatever work my schedule allows. I think that's a continue. I volunteer with family. Yes, because I'm retired. So I guess that's a continue. I would love to volunteer more. If I have time, I do have 2 jobs, so when I can. So this is continue, continue. They're going to increase it, increase. And as you can see, one thing I want you to know, and this will come out sometimes if you do a pilot study, if you begin to notice that there are only really a couple of answers that people are falling into and you're not getting a lot of themes that you can elaborate on, then that's a cue that this question might actually be better turned into a categorical question, either a nominal or a ordinal question. So this one is, it depends, because I'm going through a lot. So we've got another one. Okay, so these 2 says depends. So maybe we create that as a theme. So it depends, or maybe they're unsure. And so we would create this as another theme, and then we could categorize this one and this one as depends. And then we could remove the fill on that. Okay, so you've gone through all of them. And so for your assignment, you need to go through all of your, for each question, you need to go through all of your data. All right. And then you need to do a frequency. So equal, equal sum. And we are going to simply add it up, do parentheses, hit enter, and you have a frequency of 12. All right. And so 12, 5. All right. And so we have 20 answers here, but remember we cleaned the data. So we actually had more people respond. In our survey, depending on if you decided to use data from people who didn't finish the survey or not, which means that each question will have a different sample size that you need to report on. For this one, you should use the total number of people who made it to this question. And you will find that on your descriptives. So for the sake of this, what I'm doing right here, I'm going to say it was 26, just because I only have 20. So then what you're going to do is you're going to do equal this divided by 26. And then that's going to give you that. You're going to turn it into a percent. You're going to make it 1 decimal place over and take it over. And that is going to get you your percentages. Now you're going to want to create a chart. So you're simply going to highlight this, hit Control, highlight your percentages, hit Insert, go to Chart, create your chart, and there you go. You're just going to format your chart by putting in the correct data, and putting in this chart title, and you are good, and just formatting it the way you're supposed to do it. Now I'm about to run out of time, so just want to let you know